Howdy, 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 my name's Anachi Sasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. Now, sorry about the few days of there not being anything, you know, sometimes you're all set to do a recording of spooky, scary things, and next thing you know, your ears are bleeding and you've turned 26. So in the last episode, we were reading about, Agent Adams taking Iris out on the town to do things like exist. And in this episode, they're going on a bar crawl, and we're already on the page to start reading it, so let's do that. Alright, Adams said, marching back and forth with the military bearing of a general addressing his troops. Okay, alright. The name of the game tonight is Bar Crawl. 5 bars, 5 bartenders. You copy? Copy, Iris said reluctantly. Blair gave her a friendly, reassuring smile. Chelsea looked nervous, but grinned hopefully. First step, squad assignments, Adams said. Chelsea, you're designated driver. You're in charge of driving us to each bar. You will also be in charge of making sure that we drink enough water to avoid dehydration and hangovers. Due to your role, you will not be drinking tonight. Understood? Chelsea breathed a sigh of relief. Yeah, I'm fine with that, she said, smiling. Blair, your mother. You'll be drinking along with us, but feel free to take it slow. Your main job is to watch out for creepers and assholes. Redirect them away from Iris by any means you see fit. Question, Captain, Blair said with a note of humor in her voice. What weapons should I use to deter the enemy? Weapons? Adams scratched the back of her head. Shit, I don't know. Mace? Pepper spray? Probably none of us should be armed except maybe Chelsea. Booze and guns don't mix. Guns and me don't mix too well either, Chelsea said nervously, but I've got pepper spray. Alright then, no guns, Adams said. In any case, my job will be party girl. I'll order the drinks, pay for everything, and send any promising looking men Iris's way. Adams paused thoughtfully. Men, right? That's the way you swing? Yes? But I wasn't really looking to... Right, no men then. Just drinks. Girls' night out. Good times. Any questions? Iris raised her hand. Yes, Iris? Adams asked. What's my job? Your job is birthday girl. You decide if you're having fun, if you want to stay, and when you want to leave. Speaking of which, we should talk about the venues you want to go to. You looking for skeezy and dangerous? High class and expensive? Trendy and loud? I actually wasn't looking for anything too exciting, Iris admitted. Fair enough. Cozy and comfortable then. Adams closed her eyes and ticked off some secret calculation on her fingers. Blair, what do you think of this? We'll start at the Armory, then move on to Spectrum. Stop off for a cider at Nottingham's, then move on to Wingdings, and end up at the Blue Velvet. Ooh, that's a nice itinerary. Blair seemed to relax a bit. At least she didn't seem as on edge as she did before. Yeah, that's good. None of those places are too scary for a first-timer. Yeah, I think that's fine too. Chelsea too seemed to relax a bit. Iris felt inexplicably comforted by this. Right then, one last thing, Adams said. Her carefree, happy attitude fell away and her voice turned very serious. I've arranged for a squad from MTF Sigma 4 to shadow our movement, she said. If there's an emergency, they will indicate it by dialing our phones on the emergency channel. It will sound like a long silent tone as if you were receiving an Amber Alert or emergency weather update. If that happens, we will follow to the letter any instructions given by them. Understood? Yeah, got it. Good. And, I hate to have to say this, but Iris... If I try to run, the MTF will blow up my head, Iris said. The seizure device in her skull, replacing the old explosive collars, would see to that. She'd had it installed years back in exchange for privileges, back then when privileges entailed getting to spend the occasional afternoon inside a fenced-off area with an armed guard watching her every move. Right, Adams said, her grim expression softened. But so long as we all behave, I think we can forget about that. Just have a good time. Oh wait, one last thing. Adams reached into her coat pocket and tossed a small plastic rectangle to Iris. Congratulations, you're legal. Iris looked down at the little card in her lap. It was either an official state ID or a very good facsimile. Just in case you get carded. I wouldn't try to use that to book airline tickets, though. It's not that good. I want to go pee, and then we'll be off. Adams strode out of the room with way too much confidence and vigor for someone with her announced destination. The sound of the bathroom door closing forcefully was followed by an awkward silence. The first time we went bar hopping, Chelsea said, Andrea took us to this place called Molotov 2. A man with big tattoos on his arm and fuzzy red marks on his face tried to hit on me. She ended up fighting him and all his friends. We're not going anywhere like that tonight, are we? Iris asked. Hell no, I'd kill her if she did. Blair took a seat on the couch and patted the cushion next to her. So, what do you think of the world? It's different. A lot has changed in 9 years. You don't know the half of it, Blair said, laughing. Everything seems so much faster now, Iris said. She took the offered seat, smoothing out her jeans with the palm of her hands. Everyone's carrying these weird-looking phones, computers are smaller, music is stranger. You'll get used to it eventually. I've lived through it and I'm still not used to it, Chelsea admitted. Andrea seems used to it. Andrea's not a role model, Blair warned. More like a roller coaster, Chelsea muttered. She rubbed her elbow nervously. The sound of a flushing toilet could be heard from the back of the safe house. Well, Blair said, looks like we're going to get going soon. She leaned in close to Iris. Don't try to match drinks with Andrea. Just don't. Iris blanched. If Andrea, as Adams drank like she's shopped, they were in for a rough night. Alright, Adams shouted. I don't know why it came out all squeaky like that. As she strode confidently back to the living room, let's move out! 1800 hours, the armory. They walked through the door and passed out of the busy street into the blue-lit stillness of a nearly empty bar. The walls were covered with weaponry of all shapes and sizes. There a cussed Japanese katana. Over there, hopefully deactivated Thompson submachine gun. Submachine gun is 2 words. The televisions above the bar were showing some kind of basketball game. A friendly-looking blonde man in a neatly pressed button-down shirt and slacks stood behind the counter, chatting with a waitress in a short plaid skirt and midriff shirt. He waved as the 4 women walked in. Yo, Dan! Adams said cheerfully. How's it hanging? Hey, good to see you again, Andy, the bartender replied. Brought some friends along? Yeah, Adams said. You remember Blair and Chelsea, right? She put an arm around Iris's shoulders, pulling the startled young woman to the front of the group. This is Iris. She's celebrating her 21st birthday. Cool! Congratulations. Let me see that ID. Iris nervously passed the ID to Dan, who looked it over carefully, then handed it back with a wink. Well, I can confirm that you are indeed 21, Dan said. Do you want seats at the counter or booth? Actually, do you mind if we take the couches? It's a bit cozier there. Sure thing, Dan said. I'll bring over some drinks. First round's on me. He gave Iris a friendly smile and waved, then began busying himself conjuring up some kind of complicated concoction in his cocktail shaker. There was a lot of letter C words in there. Dan's awesome, Adams explained as she collapsed into a low couch on the corner. She put her high heel pumps onto one of the coffee tables, stretching her arms out along the backs of the couches as if she wanted to take up as much room in the world as possible. He started out here as a bartender, then moved up to manager. Keep this on the down low, but he's in talks with the current owner to buy out this place. You come here often? Iris asked, taking a seat across from Adams. Andrea comes here so often she practically pays Dan's salary, Blair said. She sat down next to Iris, swatting Adam's feet with the palm of her hand. Get your feet down, Andrea, that's rude. You're not my mom, Andrea protested, but she put her feet down anyway. Damn right I'm not your mom. If I was, I would have raised you better than that. Chelsea, meanwhile, took a seat in a large, comfy-looking armchair with its back to the walls. She scanned the mostly empty bar nervously. Here we go, Dan said. He brought over a tray holding 4 shooter glasses filled with some kind of layered green and white mixture. Shots on the house for the birthday girl and her friends. Can I get you guys anything else? Something for dinner? Old-fashioned and a basket of the sweet potato fries, Adam said. You? I'll have a lager, Blair said. Just water for me, Chelsea said. I really don't know. I have no idea what any of this stuff is. I'll come back later then. Cheers! Cheers! Adams reached over and picked up one of the shot glasses, then gestured for the other women to follow suit. To Iris, she said. May this be the first of many nights out with friends. Cheers! Cheers, everyone agreed. Adams tossed her shot back in one gulp and placed the glass back down on the table with a solid clink. Iris stared awestruck, then turned to Blair, who was taking a smaller, more measured sip of her shot. Chelsea, meanwhile, just touched her lips to the glass and put it back down on the table, where it was immediately scooped up by Adams, who once again downed it in one shot. Don't try to match drinks with Adams. Right. Iris took a small sip of her drink. It tasted sweet and fizzy, but with an oddly unpleasant edge which she assumed was the alcohol. She took a larger sip, then decided to throw caution to the wind and drank the rest in 2 gulps. The drink was cold, but it seemed to burn a bit on the way down, and settled into her belly like a warm little ember. What's in this? She asked. Damned if I know, Adams laughed. Dan's magic. It's one of the best bartenders I ever met. Sounds like they just drank vodka, though. Iris put the glass back down. She felt a little bit unsteady, but not too bad. Something exciting seemed to happen on the basketball game as one of the few other people jumped in the bar. A young man wearing a red and white jersey let out an excited shout and jumped into the air. She glanced over and saw a young Asian woman sitting at the counter, dressed entirely in black. The other woman turned to glare at the loud man, then glanced over at Iris. Their eyes met. The Asian woman flinched, then turned back to her drink. Yeah, I know the feeling. Iris looked down at the cocktail menu. It didn't seem to make much sense. She finally settled on a drink that sounded interesting just as Dan returned with a big basket of oddly colored French fries and 3 drinks. Excuse me, she said. Tell me about this Moscow Mule. Oh yeah, Dan said, grinning. I think you'll like that one. Something exciting happened on the televisions. The basketball guy let out a loud groan of dismay. Iris glanced over. The Asian woman at the bar was nowhere to be seen. Iris frowned. The ladies' room door opened and the Asian woman returned to her seat at the bar. Iris relaxed. False alarm. She leaned forward and tried one of the sweet potato fries. It was actually pretty tasty. Moscow Mule's got a bit of kick to it, huh? Adams laughed as she put her arm around Iris's shoulders, guiding the slightly unsteady younger woman down the block to their parked car. Alright, next stop, Spectrum. Adams slid bonelessly into the back seat of Chelsea's sedan, slumping against the driver's side rear door. Despite her oddly sinuous movements, Adams' eyes were bright and alert. Not quite so with Blair, who was looking a bit distant as she primly took her seat next to Adams, leaving Iris to ride shotgun. Chelsea checked all her mirrors before pulling out of the parking spot and into the considerable but still moving traffic. Next stop is Spectrum, right? She asked. Yep, just get onto this freeway and get off it. Shit, I can't remember right now. Just pull it up on your GPS or something. I remember how to get to Spectrum, Chelsea said. She stopped at the red light, resting her hands at 10 and 2 positions on the steering wheel. Adams, meanwhile, was busying herself by drumming along with the music on the radio. Her eyes were closed and her face was screwed up into a look of intense concentration as she lightly tapped her hands against her thighs, the car door in the back of Chelsea's seat. Blair was resting her hands on her knees and staring straight ahead, smiling pleasantly. Iris rested her forehead against the cool glass of the car window and stared out at the sidewalk. An Asian woman dressed in all black was leaning against the streetlight doing something on her cell phone. Their eyes met briefly and then the other woman flinched and looked away, staring into her phone screen. She's following y'all. 1930 hours, the original Spectrum Bar and Grill. Cover fee is $10, but they'll give you 2 vouchers for $5 each, Adams explained. If you guys are hungry, you can get food, but I usually spend it on drinks. Mostly just a way to make sure that anyone who comes in spends money. Is that a problem? Iris wondered. Spectrum's kind of popular with celebrities. Sometimes people come in just to watch. There was a big line outside, but Adams walked past it and right up to the big man in the tight black t-shirt standing at the door. Hey, Kurt! She shouted. Adrian, what's up, babe? The big man extended his hand and Adams gave him a high five and a friendly hug. Got some friends with you tonight. 3 of them. I'll cover all of them. She slapped a pair of 20s into the bouncer's hand. Hey! An angry-looking guy in the dark suit shouted. How come she didn't have to get in line? Because I like her and I don't like you. Kurt growled. Go inside, babe. Adams heard it. The other 3 women passed the front door. There was an explosion of light and sound. Loud rock music played over the loud speakers as waitress in tight jeans and black t-shirts expertly navigated big trays of sandwiches and pizzas through the crowd. Towards the red Naugahyde booths, framed photos of celebrities hung on every wall, with many of them signed in Sharpie or silver pen. The entire place had an air of barely controlled bedlam. What the hell is Naugahyde? It's an American brand of artificial leather, or pleather, from plastic leather. Naugahyde is a composite of knit fabric backing and expanded polyvinyl chloride. Oh, now I know what PVC means. We learned something today. Okay, so Iris was relieved then when Adams led them past all that chaos up a narrow flight of stairs and into a quiet upstairs lounge. A young blonde in black leather tended bar while a few people milled around a stage where a man wearing a long cashmere scarf was tuning his guitar. I thought he was going to say a man was stripping. Hey Trish, Adam said. Who's the music? Hey Adria, just some local guy. He any good? Dunno, never heard him before. Guess we'll find out tonight. Adam slid into a bar stool and gestured for the other woman to take seats at the counter as well. Anyway, this is Iris, she said, patting the younger woman on the shoulder. This is her 21st birthday party. Cool, Trish said, smiling. Mind if I see that ID? Iris handed it over. Trish gave it a quick glance and handed it back. It took Iris a couple of tries to put it back into her pocket. So what'll it be? The bartender asked. I don't know. Shot of cinnamon whiskey all around? I'm not drinking. Oh yeah, then 1 shot for Iris and Blair and make mine a double. Trish rolled her eyes. She began laying out shot glasses onto the counter. So, Iris asked awkwardly, I know Adams, but what exactly do you 2 guys do, for the company? Oh, I guess we never did mention that. I'm Tilda's assistant. Tilda? Iris asked. A couple more people wearing plaid shirts and trucker hats came up the stairs and stood by the stage. They started chatting with the blonde young man on stage. Friends of his, maybe? Tilda Moose, Adams interrupted, director of 19. She picked up the full shot glasses and passed one to Blair and one to Iris, keeping the highball for herself. Cheers, she said. Cheers, Blair replied. Adams and Blair drank their drinks down in 1 shot. Iris took a careful sip of hers. It tasted like red hot candies mixed with burning. You're at Site 19, she asked, as Trish turned to refill some drinks at the other end of the bar. That's, not exactly nearby, is it? Adams, Blair, and Chelsea gave each other surprised looks, then understanding seemed to dawn. A sly smile crept over Adams' face. Think I should tell her? She asked. Let her find out herself, Blair said, grinning. I wouldn't dare spoil the surprise. Iris stared down at her drink. She gulped the whole thing in 1 shot, on the it's better to jump down the deep end logic, and immediately wished she hadn't as fire shot into her sinuses, making her cough. Adams laughed out loud and thumped Iris's back. Careful there, short stuff! The night's still young. Up on the stage, a quiet young man cleared his throat into the mic. Hi, he said. I'm Tom Dylan Porter, and this is a song I call Your Love is Like a River. Oh, Lord. Adams groaned loudly. The musician gave her an angry glare, but began to play his guitar anyway. He was okay, Adams decided. Adams seemed to disagree. She did shots the entire time he was performing. God, that was torture! Adams groaned as they staggered out the front door. She nearly collided with a young woman wearing a black leather jacket and a newsboy cap waiting in line. Fucking hacks! Iris stared intently through the swimming, swirling world. Blair was quiet, walking oddly stiffly and upright, seeming to have gotten even more prim and proper over the course of the night. Chelsea had the haggard, harried look of a mouse being stalked by a very large and hungry cat. They poured Adams into the front passenger seat, then Blair and Iris took the back seats. Chelsea's lips were set in a firm, resolute line as Adams rolled down the window, took a deep breath of the cold night air. You suck! Adams shouted at no one in particular. Iris glanced out the window at the crowd waiting in line. The woman who Adams had nearly collided with was glaring angrily at her. Iris sympathized. Interim, 15 minutes prior. Command vehicle, Mobile Task Force Sigma 4, Chain Chops. This is to be the most boring assignment ever, Harkin said. He picked up his fast food hamburger and took an unenthusiastic bite, resting his hand on the steering wheel of the supposed police car. Alright then, what's next on their agenda? According to the itinerary, a little Irish pub downtown, Mario said. We'll wait until they're heading... I'm not in the mood to do a Mario voice, sorry. We'll wait until they're heading out and then we'll move on ahead. He picked up his radio and spoke low and crisp into the handset. Sigma 4, report in. 1, okay, replied a staticky voice over the radio. Still nothing interesting going on. 2, no updates. I've seen more action at a church picnic. 3, hello? A woman's voice shouted. Mario glanced up at a young Asian woman dressed in a black leather jacket and a newsboy cap knocking on the front passenger side window. Harkin glanced over and quietly put a hand on his sidearm. Mario waved him off and rolled down the car window. Yes, miss, can I help you? I was just wondering if you could direct me to the Spectrum, the woman asked, resting her hand on the roof of the car. Right across the street, Mario said. The woman rolled her eyes and smiled. Sorry about that, thanks, officer. No problem, Mario said. He rolled the window up. He rolled up the window. Was the woman jogged across the street? What? He rolled up the window. Was the woman jogged across the street? Okay. A brief moment later, his cell phone beeped. Incoming text message. He checked the message, picked up the radio again. Alright, pull it in, he said. Teams 1 and 2, proceed to the next stop. I'll escort the package. Movement from several different rooftops and darkened alleys. The perimeter team for Mobile Task Force Sigma 4 retreated from their overwatch positions. 2 of them rendezvoused with Harkin and Mario. The rest piled into their vehicles. Within a few moments, they were on the road, heading towards the next spot on the itinerary. Harkin started up the car as Mario watched the entrance of the Spectrum, the 2 shooters waiting to deploy at any sign of trouble. Package in sight, Mario said as the 4 women left the bar. Wait one. Adams nearly bumped into some drunk waiting in line to get in. Aside from that, the 4 women climbed into their car without incident. Mario nodded. Alright, he said, keep them in view but don't follow them too closely. Got it. The cop car carrying 4 members of Mobile Task Force Sigma 4 headed onto the freeway. A blue rune on the roof of the black and white glowed briefly, then faded away. Harkin didn't even notice when he made a left turn towards the suburbs, while the dark red car carrying the package turned onto the freeway headed uptown. I knew there was something up with that lady. 2015 hours, which is I think 8:15 p.m. Nottingham's pub and restaurant. There was a big crowd gathered in the front room of the picturesque little pub when the 4 women walked in. They seemed to be paying close attention to a man standing on a low stage reading off trivia questions in a loud, intense voice. A big-bellied, red-faced man with a Santa Claus beard grinned at them as they walked in. Apparently I can't do accents today. Hey, love, he said in a heavy Irish accent. You're late for trivia tonight. Or trivia night. Ah, shit, is that night tonight? Adams groaned. Sorry, Sean, I completely forgot. This is Irish. She's celebrating 21 years. Really? Isn't that nice? Sean said, a friendly twinkle in his eye. Mind if I see some ID, love? Adams leaned back in her chair and took a big gulp of her double scotch on the rocks, glowering balefully at the other pub-goers who seemed really intent on the trivia questions. Irish took a sip of a frightening-looking black foamy liquid she was told was chocolate stout. It didn't taste much like chocolate. She took a quick glance at the other members of the party. Chelsea wasn't staring intently at her cherry cola. If she were a cat, her hackles would be up. Blair was outside allegedly taking a cigarette break, probably also taking an Adams break. This whole bar crawl thing was starting to wear a bit thin, Iris decided. It was just the same thing over and over again. Go to yet another weird locale where everyone seemed to know Andrea. Order yet another round of weird tasting drinks that made her feel funny didn't taste that good. Let's do a bunch of loud people yelling incomprehensibly. Hey, Adams, she said tentatively. Hold that thought, love, Adams said. I need to douse some flames. The older woman got unsteadily to her feet and marched into the ladies' room. Iris sighed and stared morosely into her drink. Not having fun? Chelsea asked. Not really, Iris admitted. It's all really loud. I think I'm getting a headache. Yeah, I feel you, Chelsea whispered. She was looking around at the big crowd, biting her lower lip nervously. Tell you what, when Adrian gets back, just tell you want to end after Wingdings. That place is a lot quieter, mostly a hot wings place. It'll be a nice way to end the evening. If you say so, Iris said dubiously. I guess this isn't my thing, not like it is for Andrea. Andrea's... Chelsea waved her hands helplessly. Unique. The single most extroverted person in the universe? Blair offered. She sat down across from Iris next to Chelsea. That's not a bad way to think about it, Chelsea admitted. She's fun to be around, but can be incredibly exhausting. No kidding, Blair said. Iris took another sip of her chocolate stout. She grimaced at the bitter taste and pushed it away. So, Chelsea, she said, by way of chancing the conversation. I know what you do and what Adams does. What exactly do you do at the company? Chelsea gulped nervously. I'm a botanist by trade, but, She glanced over at Blair. She can't tell you, Blair said, softly but firmly, not in public. Oh, one of those jobs, then. Same job description as me? Iris asked. In, a manner of speaking? Chelsea said nervously. She was fiddling with the hem of her sweater dress, playing with a loose yarn that had started to unravel. Iris looked away from the obviously distressed young woman, feeling guilty. As she did so, the front door of the pub opened and an Asian woman walked in, wearing a blue button-down shirt over black jeans and a red scarf. Iris suddenly felt very cold. It was the same woman she locked eyes with at the armory, and if she didn't miss her guess, the same one that Adams had bumped into outside the spectrum. The clothes were different, but the face was the same. What did Adrian always say? Once is an accident, twice is coincidence, three times is enemy action, Iris whispered. What's that? Adams asked as she flopped down into her seat. Don't turn around, Iris whispered, and don't look directly at her. But the Asian woman sitting at the end of the counter? The one in the red scarf? Chelsea asked. I think I saw her back at the armory. And at the spectrum, Iris said. Adams sat very straight and the vaguely distant look in her eyes went away. Are you sure? She asked calmly. 90% sure, Iris said. Is she part of the MTF? Sigma 4 is all men. Adams pulled out her smartphone and tapped a few buttons. They're not answering, she said grimly. Suggestions? Blair asked. She put down her glass of cider and was taking deep, slow breaths. One hand slipped inside her purse and pulled out a canister of pepper spray. It could just be a coincidence, or a mistake. In any case, I think we should settle up and exfiltrate, Adams said. She pulled a couple bills out of her pocket, folded them in half, and left them under a salt shaker. When I give the signal, I want you guys to get up and walk out of the bar. Go to the car and wait there. If I don't come out in, let's say 15 minutes, leave without me and call in the big guns. What are you going to do? Iris asked. Adams gave the younger woman a confident wink. She took a deep breath and walked right across the room, straight towards the Asian woman sitting at the bar. Hey, she said, giving the stranger her biggest, most winning smile. Can I buy you a drink? Next page. Let's see. Spider knew that she was in deep shit when the tall woman accompanying KTE 11971 Green Ember walked straight up to her and tried to buy her a drink. What the fuck? Global Occult Oh. Okay, so I'm going to bookmark this and I'll come back to that on some other day. It was supposed to be just a girls' night out. Physics Division was about to carry out a readiness exercise that would last at least a month. Tonight was the last chance to get some R&R before 3 months of grueling training. Spider has suggested the night out to Kitten and Fox, both as a means to blow off some steam and as a chance to get to know her taciturn co-workers. If only Kitten hadn't got caught back at base doing some emergency preparations for the training exercise. If only Fox hadn't had to deal with a last-minute emergency with one of her team members. If only Spider hadn't seen a goddamn known threat entity doing shots in a bar like a college kid on spring break. Following them had probably been a mistake, but the Boltons were clear. 11971 Green Ember was a response level 3 target. Any agent catching sight of her in the wild was to maintain contact until strike assets could be brought into play, for capture and questioning, or elimination. The problem was that Spider was a technician, not a spy. Her tradecraft sucked and she knew it. There was, after all, only so much a 2-week seminar could do. Identifying the Overwatch team and diverting them with a Lotus Dream? That she could do. Keeping a watch on 4 women inside a crowded bar? Apparently not something she was particularly good at. She had a feeling shit was going down when the group in the corner glanced over her and started talking very seriously. When the tall, leggy brunette with the come-hither smile walked over, Spider knew she was screwed. "Hey," the enemy said, grinning seductively. "Can I buy you a drink?" "No, that's fine," Spider said, keeping her face half turned away from the mahogany-haired woman. "I'm waiting for a friend." "I can be your friend." The enemy slid into the bar stool next to her and gave her a sultry, smoldering look. "I could be your very best friend in the world, hun." "That's okay," Spider said. "I'm really not interested." The other 3 members of the party, including the K-to-E, got up from their booth and left the bar. Spider flinched. Big mistake. "Right," the enemy said curtly. She put a hand into her jacket pocket. "Now we've got a choice. Either we can quietly head out the back door to have a little chat, or I can cause some noise and we can disturb the nice people trying to have a quiet evening." "Your choice." "I'll go quietly," Spider said softly. "Back door. Now." Spider got up from the bar stool and walked out the door, carefully keeping her hands away from her sides. The alleyway behind the pub was quiet and dark. Not a soul in sight. Plenty of dark places away from the streetlights. Not a bad place for an execution. The tiny bell in her pocket jingled once. Spider breathed a sigh of relief, which immediately turned into a gasp of surprise as the stranger grabbed her and dragged her into the alley. "Alright," the enemy growled, twisting Spider's collar as she pushed her up against a brick wall. "Who the hell are you and why are you following us?" The silence that followed was interrupted by the click of an automatic pistol being taken off safety. "I think a better question might be, who the hell are you and what the fuck do you think you're doing to our friend?" Fox sneered. "Thank God," Spider thought. Backup finally arrived. "Ah, shit," Adams thought. "I should have known she'd have backup." Her drink adult mind was working overtime. Was this a coordinated hit? A chance meeting? Pure fluke of luck? Bugging gone wrong? "It's alright," Adams says, coolly sliding a hand towards the cell phone in her back pocket. "You can have my wallet and phone." Someone kicked her knees out from under her and pinned her face down on the concrete. Adams tasted blood, dirt, and concrete dust. She struggled, but a pair of strong hands pinned her arms behind her back, putting her expertly to a joint-wrenching wrist lock that promised dire consequences for continued resistance. "Frisk her, kitten," a low voice growled. "Spider, what the hell's going on?" 3 women just walked out of the pub, the Asian woman said. "The blonde is one on the Bolton that just went around last week about the Foundation reactivating their special assault force." "Oh shit," Adams thought. "Shit. Katie 11971? The low voice growled. The muzzle on the pistol pressed tightly into the back of Adams' head as another pair of hands frisked her roughly. "Where is it now?" "Probably out front. Dark red sedan. 3 others including the Katie. They had perimeter support, but I've had them chasing Lotus Dreams for the past half hour." "Alright," the rough voice said. "If we wait for strike, they're gonna spook. We'll do the snatch and grab ourselves. Kitten takes one guard, I'll take the other. You go for the target." "What about this one?" a third voice asked. This one was toneless and emotionless, a gray sort of voice. "I'd rather not kill her if I can help it. Hand me your taser." Something behind Adam's eyes went click. She knew that it was suicide to move, not with a gun pressed against the back of her head and her arm pinned behind her back. But if what the enemy was saying was true, if the MTF backup was distracted then they were going to go after Iris, Blair, and Chelsea. If she moved fast enough, moved strong enough, maybe she could throw her attacker off and get clear of the muzzle of the gun before the other person fired. Not much of a chance, but it was the only chance she had. She was tensing up to move when there was a bright flash of blue light and the sound of a simulated shutter snapping. There was a flash of light and an electronic-sounding click. Spider turned. There was a darkened silhouette standing in the alleyway. Female, blonde. She had a smartphone in her hand and had just taken a snapshot of the scene and a single line from the bulletin regarding KTE 11971. Subject has limited reality alteration abilities and can reach through a photograph to move and manipulate objects pictured. "Oh crap," Spider whispered. She went for the only weapon she had left, the ritual knife in her right boot. There was a loud shout behind her. She saw out of the corner of her eye a ghostly hand reach out of nowhere and struggle briefly with Fox for the pistol. The woman on the ground moved terrifyingly fast. She twisted her body around, somehow causing Fox to lose her grip. The heel of her hand clipped Fox's jaw hard, sending her reeling into Kitten. Kitten shoved the stunned Fox away, ruthlessly clearing her line of sight, raised the taser. A shot rang out. Kitten sprawled to the ground, clutching her side. A flattened bullet clattered to the floor. She gasped for breath, obviously winded by the bullet's impact. The blonde stood a few feet away. Her trembling, bleeding hands held Fox's pistol. She quickly lowered it so it was pointing at Spider's head. "Freeze, motherfuckers!" Okay, freeze, motherfuckers! Iris screamed. Her heart was pounding, her hands were bloody. She wanted to throw up, but Beatrix had always told her that a loud, confident shout would do more than bullets to get an enemy to think twice about attacking. The kneeling Asian woman froze. She was holding a knife in one hand, a curved hunting knife with a hilt that looked like bone or ivory. What was it that Lombardi always said about a guy with a knife? Was it 20 or 30 feet that they can get you in? Or was that while the gun is holstered? The enemy looked into Iris's eyes. They stared at each other for a long moment. The Asian woman put her knife on the ground and held her hands above her head. The only sounds were Adam's labor breathing, the groaning, red-headed woman struggling to get to her feet, and the gasping of the tall woman with the freckles and light brown hair. Headlights, the sound of squealing tires. Iris saw a red-brown sedan drive up to the curb and into the alleyway. Get in! Chelsea shouted as Blair opened the passenger side door. Adams got to her feet and ran for it, racing towards the back door, diving past Iris and, if the sounds were any indication, tumbling headfirst into the car's back seat. Iris backed slowly away from the three strangers, keeping the gun trained on each one of them in turn. She climbed into the front passenger seat and slammed the door shut. Shit! Spider growled as the KTE climbed into the car's out in the driveway. She hesitated. Kitten and Fox were both down. If she pursued... Go! Kitten gasped, clutching her side. I'll watch Fox! Don't let them get away! Right! Spider scooped up her... that... and ran after the dark sedan. She pulled the smartphone from her right pocket and pulled up her grimoire. Oh god. There might not be very much contagion between the skin cells on her jacket collar and the well-dressed brunette who had left them there, but if she worked quickly and kept the car inside, she could still use the connection to send it to a tall Chinese woman in a black coat with short black hair. Spider let out a surprised squawk that turned into a cry of dismay as her smartphone fell out of her hand and clattered down a storm drain. Shit! She grabbed for the phone, but it was too far down in reach. She could see it there, right beyond her fingertips, LCD screen still glowing. She looked up, too late. The car was gone. Spider searched angrily for the woman who had bumped into her, but that woman was nowhere to be seen. Shao Sula, she cursed. Holy shit, Blair gasped as the car sped away. You guys okay? I'm fine, Adams protested, pushing Blair's hands away. Just a little banged up. Iris? Iris took a deep, ragged breath and dropped the pistol into her lap. Adams was oddly pleased to see that the safety catch was on. Good girl, she thought. Who are those guys? Church? Insurgency? They called her a Katie, Adams realized. KTE. Coalition, she said softly. Fuck. Chelsea's eyes were big, wide, and very, very scared. Iris, Blair said, I need you to do me a favor. What? I need you to take that gun, strip it down, and toss all the pieces out the window, Blair said. Good idea, Adams thought. Global Occult Coalition put tracking chips in all their weapons. Shit. Iris popped the retaining pin for the pistol and stripped the slide, leaving blood on behind on the steel. Adams frowned. She grabbed Iris's hand and held it up to the light. You're bleeding. I'm fine, Iris said, gulping. It's just... Remember when I said that reaching through the phone was like pushing through wet sand? I scraped my hand up doing it. GOC sorcerers can track you by your blood, Adams said, taking the pistol. We need to clean this. Blair? I got it, Blair said. She pulled out a lace-edged handkerchief from her purse and began carefully wiping down the weapon. How the hell did they find us in the first place, Chelsea wondered. Is there a mole? Were we breached? Just bad luck if what those three were saying is true, Adams thought. Fucking shame, I like those bars. She fumbled for her phone, realized that it had been taken away from her by their attackers. Damn! Commander's gonna tear me a new asshole for this. Iris? Blair asked, are you okay, hun? Iris didn't respond. She was wrapping her new scarf around her scraped knuckles to avoid getting blood all over her clothes in Chelsea's car. Hey, Adams said, putting her hand on the girl's shoulder. You did good back there. Thanks. Iris nodded. Sure, she whispered. The car continued down the freeway. What do we do now? Chelsea asked. We can't go back to the safe house, Blair said sternly, and they know your car. Sorry, hon, but you're gonna have to ditch it. Ah, shit, I just finished paying for it, too. They left the car sitting by the side of the road in the bad part of town. Blair disassembled the gun and tossed the pieces into the river while Adams hopped the fence into an all-night parking lot. A few minutes and some fiddling with some wires later, the four women piled into a white minivan and drove off into the night. The minivan's previous owner had left some blankets in it. Iris wrapped herself in one and rested her head against the foggy window as the minivan drove through the desert towards Site 17. She drifted in and out of sleep listening to the soothing sound of the minivan's engine and Blair and Adams' whispered conversation. What about the stuff you bought at the mall? Blair asked softly. I'll have someone pick up our stuff from the safe house later, Adams explained. For now, let's get back to on site. I've got some reports to make. O5's not going to like this, Blair pointed out. They're going to say you've recklessly endangered an important asset. O5 will be right, Adams admitted, but they're going to like it even less that the Goks now know we've reactivated Omega-7. The one who was shadowing us talked about how we've reactivated our special assault force. Someone spilled the beans about Alpha Niner. Well, shit, that's all we need. They continued along the road in silence. Hey, Adams? Yeah, Blair? All in all, this was still a better night than Molotov 2. You're never going to let me live that down, are you? Iris drifted to sleep with the dark desert speeding past the window and Adams chuckling in her ears. They drove the van through the gate and parked it in the underground parking lot. Security would handle the disposal of the vehicle. They were good at that. The site was silent at this hour. Most of the doctors and staff were asleep. Only the night shift security was up and about. They passed through the gates and the identity scanners and into the steel-walled elevator, which rapidly descended into the earth and opened up onto a sterile white hallway with thin colored lines painted on the walls. I'm hungry, Blair said. Anyone want to eat? I could eat, Adams admitted. Yeah, Chelsea agreed. Iris nodded mutely. They headed into the cafeteria, darkened and still at this late hour. Blair rummaged through the refrigerators, managing to find some bread and sandwich fixings. Chelsea cleared off a table and Adams poured some drinks from the soda fountain in the corner. Iris sat down at the table. She stared at her bloodied hands for a long time. Then, as Blair set the turkey and Swiss cheese sandwich down in front of her, Iris finally began to cry. Warm, soft hands wrapped around her shoulders, hugging her close. It's alright, Blair's gentle voice said. You did good, girl. It was another 4 hours before the interviews and debriefings ended. She was interrogated about everything that happened from the moment that she and Adams had left the site. Reliving the day was twice as exhausting as living it had been. The site was switching the day shift when the security guard closed the door of her containment cell behind her. Iris collapsed under her bed, not even bothering to take off her clothes. She rolled over onto her back and stared up at what she knew was the distant ceiling of the overly tall cell. She'd done well, she knew. Taken decisive action, used the camera of her phone to disarm the enemy from a distance. Her actions had probably saved Adam's life and almost certainly given her the opportunity to escape. Then why do I feel so sick? Maybe it was just the hangover. Or maybe it was because seeing that gun at Adam's head reminded her of the other time she'd seen a gun pressed against the head of a friend. I can't do it anymore, Iris had whimpered. You read Dan Tenson's report. My powers are gone. Right. It was right that when he was going to shoot himself. Iris rolled over on her cot. She wouldn't get to sleep for many hours, and for the first time in many years, she would not be awake in time for breakfast. So that's how it went, Clef said. Pity you ladies didn't get to have your slumber party. Fuck off, sir. Adams was still nursing a bruised shoulder and a bloodied nose, not to mention a horrific hangover. 20 hours without sleep and a wounded ego. She was in no mood for bullshit. You don't get to blow me off. Not this time, Adams, Clef said sternly. For fuck's sake! You went out drinking with a skip. What the hell were you thinking? I had 2 backups and a mobile task force on perimeter watch. Not that it did you any good. That Gok sorceress had them tripping balls for hours. Best guess is that she got them just before heading into that 3rd bar. Nottingham's, Adams said. Probably used the 2 previous stops to scope out your backup so she could take them out. If she'd been in a less merciful mood, we could have had an entire dead mobile task force on our hands. Did you think about that? Furthermore, he said, half the Overseer Council wants to see Alpha 9 crash and burn, and you gave them ammo to use against us before the thing even gotten off the ground. Clef's lip curled into a sneer. So was it worth it to play Sex in the City with the SCP-105? Adam's jaw worked as she gritted her teeth angrily. Her hands clenched the arms of her chair so tight it creaked. Sir, can I speak freely? That has never been a problem with you, Clef said deadpan, but yes, go ahead. Last night, Iris tore up her hand saving my life, Adams said, and then she shot a woman saving my life again. And she did that when all she needed to do was escape and just walk away. The reason she did that is because she and I are friends. Because we bonded over stupid things like shopping for clothes and going out for drinks. Not because an overseer strong-armed her into rejoining a mobile task force that she never wanted to be a part of in the first place. You're saying that last night was a step forward? Clef said incredulously. I'm saying that the 2 most important things in any army are trust and teamwork. Without those, you don't have soldiers, you have conscripts and fanatics. A conscript will fight to stay alive, a fanatic will die for a cause. A soldier will kill to save the person standing next to them. The clock ticked away the seconds. Clef shook his head. That's how you want me to justify this to the Overseers? As a team-building exercise gone wrong? Adams steepled her fingers. Sir, if it weren't for the fact that the Coalition somehow knew that we were planning to activate Alpha 9, last night would have been written off as harmless shenanigans. Was Brazil any different? The fuck was Brazil? Clef's smile took on a distinctly predatory air. The difference between this and Brazil, he said, is that I had the full support of the Overseer Council and I was the teacher's pet of one of them. Who do you have, Adams? Just you, sir, Adams said. Clef's stare was cold. Get out. Adams complied. Clef buried his face in his hands and let out a long, slow sigh. I should never have let you bring me in on this. Having second thoughts, a woman's voice said from nowhere in particular. Realizing just how deep of a pile of shit you got me into, Clef said. One of the ceiling tiles slid back, lowering a projector into place. The image of a middle-aged woman in a chartreuse bathrobe appeared in the wall of Clef's office. She was sipping a cup of cocoa. I remind you, Doctor, that it was your idea to bring Adams in on this operation, 057 said. If your protege is performing below standards, you have no one to blame but yourself. It's not that she's performing below standards, it's that she's performing in all the wrong fucking ways! Clef complained. Seven smirked. A sentiment I expressed to you after that nonsense with the giant steel fists. Do you remember what you said to me then? If you didn't want me to do things my way, you shouldn't have told me to do it in the first place, Clef quoted. Damn you, ma'am, you're enjoying this. Damned right I'm enjoying this, Seven said. Seeing you put up with a willful but talented subordinate is satisfying on a deeply personal level. Clef leaned back in a chair and grunted noncommittally. Is that all, ma'am? No, Seven said, it's not. She leaned back in her chair in a gesture that mirrored Clef's own. It occurs to me that the significant factor in last night's escapades was that our force that attacked you was also disorganized and uninformed. We can't count on that being the case in the future. With the GLC confirming that we're reactivating Alpha 9, they're going to upgrade their readiness. Next time it's not going to be a few lightly armed off-duty agents. If Alpha 9 were at full force, I think we could take on a strike team, Clef said. But that's not going to be for a few weeks at the soonest. Whereas the Coalition can move to full readiness within 48 hours, Seven concluded, leaving about a month-long gap where we're vulnerable. Unless we can take some drastic measures. You want me to go to Phase 2? I'm ordering you to go to Phase 2 before the Council vote. It's too early, Clef protested. We still haven't confirmed the new memory structures are holding. If she... Do it, Clef. Seven out. Clef took a moment to curse his luck. He pulled his hat over his balding pate and grabbed his jacket. He stormed out of his office past the pimply-faced office drone that Human Resources had assigned to him and Adams as their administrative assistant. Peon! Clef shouted. Clear my schedule for the rest of the afternoon. Tell anyone who calls asking for me to fuck off. Yes, sir, the kid whimpered. What should I tell them you're doing? Clef's smile turned positively gleeful. Tell them I'm seeing a dog about a suit. Okay, so that's why that happened. This is a long thing that probably doesn't need to be read. This is also a long thing that probably doesn't need to be read. But that one dog story didn't need to be read, but I read it anyway and it was very entertaining and it was absolutely useless. So let's see how long Museum of Idiots is. It's both long and not long, so I'll start the next episode with Museum of Idiots. We made it through Girls' Night Out, and it's a good thing that we did read Girls' Night Out, because if I had not read Girls' Night Out, I would not know that the Global Occult Coalition is after them through the rest of this. So, this has been Anashi Sasuke. This was episode 30-something of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the next episode, we'll read Museum of Idiots, additional resources, probably job opportunities, and maybe Pythia's Wing. Depends on how long they are. I'll push for an hour. It really comes down to how much time I've got. So, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.